There can be little doubt that cranial motion is a fact, although the degree of motion potential in the sutures is small, approximately 250 microns, around 1/100th of an inch at the parietal suture. Our next palpation exercise will attempt to evaluate this motion.
The cranial methods described here should not be applied to anyone who has had a recent cerebrovascular accident or stroke within the last 6 months, or who has received trauma to the head which has resulted in internal bleeding. Remember that pressures used never cause pain and should not exceed the degree of pressure which you could easily apply to your own open eye without causing distress or discomfort.
The next exercise should assist in learning to feel minute degrees of motion in the skull sutures. You are at the head of the table, thumbs resting on the bregma, finger pads on the parietals, medial to the suture, but carefully avoiding the temporal articulation with the parietals. The hands will palpate, stabilize and monitor as you apply contact pressure to the bregma. This is achieved by pressing the heels of your hands together, which helps the fingers engage the parietals while establishing a gentle palpation contact of the thumbs against the bregma. The patient inhales deeply and at the same time moves the feet into dorsiflexion. On exhalation, the feet should be actively plantar flexed as your hand contacts monitor the motions resulting from the fascial tug caused by inhalation and dorsiflexion, followed by exhalation and plantar flexion. A wave-like sensation is being looked for in the cranial structures as these movements and functions produce their influences. Restriction of the cranial sutures or of the internal reciprocal tension membranes will impede this free motion. Additional fascial maneuvers which amplify the effects on the cranium can include clenching of fists on inhalation, tightening of abdominal muscles, using one foot only or alternating foot involvement in the process, introducing sucking, of a thumb for example, coincidental with inhalation. The motion should be felt both at the bregma and the occiput, so after testing for motion at the bregma, shift hand position to the occiput while the thumbs continue to rest on the bregma and repeat the exercise. What do you feel? How do you account for the movements you sense other than as a result of fascial and/or muscular influences which have a profound influence on the cranium via their internal fascial connections as well as their external attachments?